It's been a bit more than 4 weeks since I last sat down to record, more like 5 weeks. The last time I sat down here to talk about my yarn makes was in August 27th to be exact, for episode 26. So welcome into episode 27. For those of you that have been on this journey with me for a while, welcome back. For those of you that are new, welcome in and thank you for finding me. I am getting a few more subscribers with each time I upload an episode, so welcome in. This is my channel here on YouTube where I talk about my crochet and my knitting and my yarn wear that I end up with as a result of my love of acquiring yarn. And I'll talk about things ranging from shawls to socks to garments and lots of things in between, depending on where my knitting and crochet mojo is at the time. So in this episode, I'm not going to have a lot of yarny content because I lost some of my yarn mojo during the month of September leading up into a vacation that we took at the end of September, in which I didn't do any knitting as well because I was taking in all the sights and living in the moment. So today I'm going to show you is one finished object, a couple of work in progress updates from the last video, and the video this time around will seem long, but that's because I have about 15 minutes worth at the end of my vacation. I've put in some videos logging what my trip was like, because this is a channel for my future self to look back on to see what I've created with yarn, but as well as recording some of my special memories. If you don't want to watch the end, I do put in chapters so you can freely skip to the sections that you are interested in. So with all of that intro out of the way, I am going to turn this over now to past Olivia to explain why there isn't a lot to show you in terms of yarn content on this video. Well, here I am in Portugal on vacation, and yes, you're not seeing things. I am in a castle. And after a whole week of sightseeing in this beautiful country, this is how much knitting I've gotten done on these socks. I can't get beyond the cuff because there's just so much to see. There's so much beautiful scenery to admire. But most of all, there's this gorgeous castle that I'm staying in the town of Óbidos, which is north of Lisbon. So I'm going to have my videographer here pan us around so you could see what I'm looking at while I knit on these socks. See you all soon. And that's why there's not a lot of knitting content in this episode. But we will talk about what I was wearing, which is this lovely scarf. This is a mosaic scarf, or I should say shawl, that I knit in August of 2023. It's a DK weight yarn shawl. So it is a little heavier than my other scarves or shawls. And it is large, and I will take it off in a minute to show you. But it was one that I've only worn a couple of times, and it's been sitting in my scarf shawl drawer for a couple of years. I think I wore it soon after I finished it, put it away, and it kind of ended up in the bottom of the drawer because I keep making more shawls and scarves. When I was packing for the trip, I knew I wanted to take some of my accessories with me to wear in the evenings because I had heard that it was chilly in the evenings, and I wanted something that I could wear with my blouses or my jean jacket. And this one was perfect. This one is absolutely perfect for the night that I wore it when I was walking up and down a medieval street in the town or the village of Óbidos, which is about an hour north of Lisbon. And so this is the loveliness that I'm going to take off now to show you, because it is warm and it's going to reach almost 80 degrees here in about an hour here in Massachusetts in the northeast of the US. It's unbelievable how warm it is this time of year. So let me take it off to show you. What I used to make this piece was a yarn that unfortunately is now discontinued. I bought it in August 2023 as part of a stop in local yarn shops on a weekend that we were going to a knitting retreat. My friends Sue and Robin, we do a knitting retreat in the spring every year. And on the way there, we stopped at this wonderful little shop. It's not so little anymore because she's moved now to a bigger location. Wicked Good Yarns in Braintree, Massachusetts. And she had this shawl on the mannequin and had the yarn that went with the shawl. And I chose blue, Robin chose green, I believe, and Sue chose another color. So we all ended up buying a kit to make this. And it is a lovely, lovely yarn. It is so soft, and it's so sad that it's already been discontinued, which I should tell you what the yarn is, right? The yarn is Plymouth yarn, Miradors, and the color that I used was Blue Suede Seas, the blue, and Alabaster for the contrast for the pattern. And as most of these scarves work, you start here at the bottom, introduces one row repeat in the pattern, then it's all garter stitch, and then the pattern, because it's mosaic knitting, is in the back is garter, but it's stockinette in the front. So it's stockinette, right? And another row, and because I wanted to use as much of the alabaster skein as possible, I made the end a little wider than what the pattern called for, and cast off with just the blue. And it worked up really easy. I started it when we were camping, because it was August, we were at a campground, and it worked up really nicely. So that's my Dance Up a Storm shawl. And I forgot to say that I used a size 6 US 4mm needle. And it is, Helen Kennedy is an English designer, so it's a 5-pound pattern on Ravelry, which right now is showing as $7.03. Highly recommend, if you want to try mosaic knitting, this is the one for you to give a try. And I'm sure it'll work just as nicely as well in fingering weight yarn, which, having worn it and remembering how much I enjoyed making it, I may have to add this back to my queue to make another one, because I do have a lot of single skeins in fingering. This would be a great pattern to use up 2 skeins. And that's the shawl that went with me on vacation. So that's the archives. New to the collection, the one and only item that I have new to the collection, which is sort of new, almost done. I can consider it an FO, but it's not completely done. And it is the Mellow Mood top. I did finish it before I went on vacation, so I'm going to show it to log here that I did finish it, but it's not completely finished it because I need to block it. It is this beautiful top by Julia Piero, is a designer for this pattern. It's a little wrinkled from being in the project bag waiting to be blocked. I still have the ends. I'll cut the ends off when I finish blocking it. So there's, I think I showed it in the last episode up to here, so you would have already seen the sleeves and what they look like. But here's the body all finished. I did make it a little longer than the pattern suggests because I did want to use up all the yarn. But trying it on pre-blocking, it feels a little long. So I may end up having to take the hem off and redoing it and making it a little bit shorter. It does work for wearing it with slacks, but I wanted this to wear it with a dress. And so I may have to, we'll see after I block it how it feels when I put it on. And yeah, I'm not going to say much more about this one. I talked quite a bit about it in the last episode. It has this pattern going down the side. It continues from the raglan. Let me turn it this way. It continues from the raglan design up here. The element works all the way down. And yeah, it's a very adjusted what's the best way for me to describe this? So let me say this. Let me talk about the pattern. Talked about how much I love the pattern. And I, just to be, in case you are new here and you don't know what I used for it, I used Upland Fiber Co. Mohair, which is 70% merino wool and 30% mohair. And I used 5 skeins of it, which is 280 yards per 100 grams. And the gauge on it, I met for the top. I did have my little gauge swatch. I matched it, it worked. And I talked about how much I enjoy this pattern for the stops along the way. This is what it looks like. The only drawback to this pattern, and not a fault of the pattern designer, not a fault of the yarn, it's a complete fault of Olivia's brain and perception of things. She has it done in sizes. She breaks down the sizes and the measurements in small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, etc. When I started it, although I knew what my measurements needed to be for it to be comfortable, it had said that there was a 1 to 4 inches of positive ease on the project. So I said, well, no, there's no way I'm a 3XL. I couldn't get past the column of the XLs. So I chose to just do the 1XL because there's no way I'm a 3XL. I should have done the 3XL because basically that was the measurement that I needed for my bust line, and that's what I should have done. It would have worked better for me if the pattern had a size 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because I already know in most patterns I'm a 4 or a 5, and my brain would have accepted that more. But the 3XL or the 2XL had me in total denial. So I'm going to see how it works up after I have it in a good block and stretching it out a bit and see how it feels. Or it may be one that I might have to gift because yeah, I'm not going for the Jessica Rabbit look when I'm wearing a top. And yeah, highly recommend the pattern with just this little caveat. If you're like Olivia and you miss certain points in patterns, ignore the amount of XLs and just look at the measurement that the designer has said you need for your size, and you'll be great. You won't have to redo like Olivia is probably gonna redo, because the yarn, I do want to use up the yarn and I'd hate for it. I mean, I don't want that sitting in my closet waiting for me to lose weight to wear it. I don't think that's gonna happen at this point. So anyway, that's my new to the collection that I'm saying almost because I need to do a little bit more work on it. And did I say that I used a US 4 3.5 millimeter for the neck, and the body was a 6 4 millimeter for the rest of the knitting. And I did not change it back to a 4 for the cuff or for the hem. I just kept it all as 6 just because I wanted it the straight shape. And that's about the only thing I have to show you that's a finished item. My progress report. As you saw from the video, I was trying to knit on a pair of socks. It took me a whole week to do 20 rows of 2x2 rib for a cuff. A whole week. There was just so much to see. There was so much time to just sit back with a coffee or a nice cold super bock, which I don't care what anybody says. It never tastes the same here in the US. We do have a lot of local businesses and restaurants that do carry that beer here in the south coast of Massachusetts, but it never tastes the same as it does when we're on vacation in Portugal. So the sock is living, or went on vacation with me in this bag, this adorable bag, which was gifted to me at Christmas time by my friend Manuela, who lives in Portugal, who I got to visit when I was there. And it's the perfect size sock bag for me to carry around, and just put it on my wrist and have the yarn inside. So the socks are the Follow Your Path socks by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady. And I chose Barocco Comfort Sock to take with me. So this was a sock that I had planned to zip through while I was on vacation. Yeah, no. I decided this sock, actually I should stop by showing you first. The sock, the progress on the sock, and I'll tell you why I chose these colors afterwards. So the progress on the sock, this is what I've got so far. The cuff is finished, and up to here is what I knit on the plane on the way home. It's a very pretty pattern. I'm enjoying knitting this. It was a almost 7-hour flight back home during the day, so I got that much knitting done and watched 3 movies on the plane. I cannot sleep on an airplane. 3 movies and sock knitting. I was also in the middle seat, so I was knitting like this the whole time because they had us packed like sardines in the airplane. It was a sold out flight coming back to Boston. It was also a sold out flight going there. So travel between Boston and Porto is really popular right now. I should say Boston and Portugal. So anyway, there's the sock. And so I knit that on the plane, and I did a little bit last night. I was motivated to do a little bit of knitting last night. In these, I'm using the size 2, which I normally do, the 2.275 millimeter. This time I took wooden needles with me. These are knit picks. One of the things I've discovered with Portugal, getting in is not a problem with knitting needles, but getting out, I'm always stopped if I have metal knitting needles, and always have to explain why. And one time they almost threatened to cut my needles, but I talked them out of it and said, no, what am I gonna do on the plane if you do that to me? But this time around, I don't know if they've already wised up that knitting needles are not an issue, but I didn't get any questions. Again, they're wood, so maybe it wouldn't have flagged. I don't know what would have happened. So these came on the plane back with me, and the reason why I'm doing this colorway, and I am still participating. I did plan to participate in the knitting of 5,000 socks for 2025. It's a page on Ravelry. It's the hashtag SK5000 in 2025, with a goal of having 5,000 pairs knit in 2025 by knitters. And I've been doing, every month I've been doing a pair of socks. I've met my goal every month, except this past month. Yeah, these were the September socks, which are not gonna be done in October. So I'm gonna have to do 2 pairs in October to meet my quota, my own self-imposed quota of having to do 12 pairs in 1 year. But in doing these socks, one of the things that I've also been participating in is the Book Socks Club, which is hosted by Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits and Danelle _KP. They both have podcasts. I'll have them linked below, with the idea that if you're knitting a pair of socks, matching it to a book you're reading. And this was the book that I had planned to read on vacation, which I didn't. But I'll show it to you anyway, because it went with me in the suitcase. So it's gone on vacation and it's come back. And it's this book by Geraldine Brooks, The Secret Chord. And I was gonna match these up. And yeah, we'll see how far I get in making these socks now that I'm back home, and work Monday is right around the corner. These will be getting some love during my lunchtime break. So that's this, and I matched it all up, the sock, the book, and the bag. Hey, I should do it this way, right? So that maybe this will end up being my thumbnail. As I said in the beginning, my videos are all progress reports to the projects before. So this is a good example of a progress report on what I showed in the last episode. I tried valiantly to finish the Neona top to take with me. Neona, I'll put a picture here by Isabell Kraemer. Talked a bit at length about my challenges with it in the last episode. I did not get to finish it. Leading up into vacation, well, 2 weeks leading up into vacation, work got really, really hectic with a lot of situations that required a lot of attention from me, a lot of meetings, a lot of sit-down discussions with people, and by the time work was over, I just didn't have the brain power to deal with a pattern that was challenging me. Not the pattern, me not reading the pattern correctly. And I'll explain what I'm meaning by that. So I ended up doing the Neona top, as I said before. I had done the pattern completely incorrect in the back. I had misread the pattern count, missing out two repeat. How do we say it? 2 repeats on the pattern. And I ended up doing the front correctly, but I ended up missing another line. And this is why the brain just was just not cooperating with my need to knit. I did the front correctly, but I did it because it's done, the construction. Let me show you the top in case you didn't see the last episode. So this is the Neona by Isabell Kraemer. I think I said that. And I am using a yarn that I bought in Portugal last year, which I'll show you in a minute. And it's got this gorgeous pattern, textured pattern on top and in the back. And it starts with, you knit the back in pattern, then you join the left shoulder, you join the right shoulder, and then you knit the shoulders, and then you join for the neckline. But you join for the neckline up here, not down here. And I had missed the one sentence in the pattern that says join shoulders. I just don't know. I don't know how I missed that. So I had done it down to here, and now I had to take it all apart again. I had to take this whole thing apart and rejoin up here. And then I did the front correctly, and it looked great. It looked really great. But then I had said in the last episode how I wasn't going to worry about the back being incorrect because it was the back who was going to know I did it wrong. I even joked that if I ever ran into Isabell Kraemer, I would just walk backwards if I saw her, if I was wearing it. But the perfectionist in me just could not let it go. So I took the back apart and I reknit the back. So I redid the back, and because it hasn't been blocked, it doesn't look as sharp. The pattern doesn't look as sharp as it does in the front because the yarn had already been worked. But I reknit the back, so now I've got the correct pattern count. The stitch count is correct now. I'm not missing the 2 rows, so now I am getting the little diagonals or the little diamond shapes. And yeah, that took up some time, having to redo the back. So eventually I had it all correct. Back was done, the shoulders were correct, everything was joined. I can knit in the round, and I did. So I did knit it all the way in the round. I finished it, and I got as far as casting it off, and it does have this texture at the bottom too, which now that I had done it several times, I know exactly how to do this. Zip through this fast, and then the 3x1 hem for 3 stitches, but I ended up 3 stitches, yeah. But I ended up doing, I think, 2.5 stitches because it was coming out too long. And that's as far as I got. I had planned to have this done before leaving on vacation, blocking it, because I wanted to take a photo wearing it in front of the shop where I bought the yarn last year. The shop is Le Pouchevier, and I'll be showing you at the end of the video what the shop looks like as I walk to how close we were staying to the shop. So the plan had been, let me finish it, wear it, so I can show the shop owner, because this yarn is Phoebus yarn, and it is a yarn that is the shop's brand. It's a sport weight, and it's dyed specifically for their shop. It's 100% Portuguese wool, and the colorway is azul. So that had been the plan. I was gonna wear it, show it off, what I made with the yarn. And so, yeah, no, I didn't. So as you can see, one sleeve still needs to be done. And this is how far I've gotten on the sleeve on the other side. And I have made a slight modification on here. Isabel has you doing decreases as you go, but I measured my arm, and my bicep is a, there we go. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we live on the flight path to our local regional airport, and I've got my side door here open. So every once in a while, there'll be an airplane or a helicopter that goes by. And that's what that is. Sometimes a larger jet will come through, and that sounds really, really scary because it feels like it's so low. What was I saying? How was my track of thought? Oh yeah, so my arm, when I measured it, I needed it to be 14 inches, and the decreases were not giving me 14 inches. They were giving me 12 and 11, and it was feeling way too snug. So I'm doing it as a straight knitting for the amount of stitches for my size, which with Isabel, I already know that I need to do a size 4 for the neckline and a size 5 for the body. I've made a few of her patterns, and that's the sweet spot for me. If I do a size 5 neck, it comes out too wide at the top, but I need that for the chest and just for the hip. I just need it to be a little larger. So what I'll do is I'm going to knit it up to here, more or less, in without any decreases, and then I'll do some decreases here and then for the cuff. And yesterday I spent a little bit of knitting time with my friend Robin, who is also making this sweater, or actually she's already finished hers. When I was in Portugal last year, I bought yarn for me and for her. I got hers in green. She's finished hers, and that's exactly what she did. And I thought, you know, we're very like-minded knitters. We're doing the same exact thing. So this is going to be my work it down over the next couple of days, because it's now going to become my Rhinebeck sweater. Yes, it's going to be the Rhinebeck sweater, which is 2 weekends away. Yikes, it just crept up fast. And yeah, I'll wear this there, and I'll be very happy to show off this wonderful yarn and this great pattern, which all of Isabell Kraemer's patterns are fantastic, and this is another one. But don't do like Olivia. Don't try to knit the pattern if you've had a very rough day at work, and if you do, make sure you highlight where you're supposed to do things differently. Don't just get in the zone, and then before you know it, you're gonna have a vest in pattern instead of a sweater that's joined at the neck. Yeah, so that's what this one is, and I think I don't think I've got more to say on this. I did say it was a sport weight. I'm using a US 4 3.5 millimeter, and if you know, so on Ravelry, I'll have all my notes on this project as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me here in the comments about any of these makes, because I always enjoy connecting with you. So that is, I'm just looking to make sure. Yeah, those are the only projects I brought to the table, literally the table. This is my dinette area. The other things I've got to show you are some memento yarn that I picked up, some gifts that I received, and yeah, and then at the end I'll have the vacation video. So if you're not interested in seeing what some of my acquisition was, thank you for joining me on here for these few minutes so that you could see what I've been up to. I don't think I'll have a chance to record before Rhinebeck. I'll record afterwards with a little recap video. And if you are going, if we run into each other, please come and meet me and let me know who you are. You know me, you see me, but I don't know you. And I am always open to conversation and meeting people. I love meeting people. And my plan on Saturday, I will be going to India Untangled on Friday and a Woolen Affair. And if I can squeeze in Cape Palooza, I might do that too on Friday. It depends on how much time I'll have to get there on Friday to hit the 3 events. And I will be Saturday just roaming the grounds at Rhinebeck. I don't plan to do any shopping on Saturday because it can get a bit overwhelming. This is the 4th year I've gone. In 2021, the crowds were minimal and I was able to browse very comfortably. But with each year, more and more people are getting comfortable coming out to these events, and it's getting very, very crowded, and it's too crowded in the barns to shop. And that can be a little claustrophobic for me. So I like to sit on the hill or just find a place to sit and just people watch and just enjoy the vibe that is there and try to spot the different patterns and then see the lovely yarns people used. And it's just, it really is a wonderful experience for us knitters or any of us who are obsessed with wool and yarn or fleece. It really is a wonderful experience. So I'll be probably around noon, 1 o'clock on the hill, because that is when most of the podcasters meet up on the hill. And I'm not saying that because I'm expecting a following to find me. It's because I watch and love a lot of podcasters. And I do plan to go visit with them in person, let them know how much I appreciate their content, how much they've inspired me or motivated me to create my own channel where I can log these makes, because you guys understand. We often think that others appreciate our obsession with knitting garments or crocheting pieces, but they really don't understand what we're talking about. But you do. So my whole thing is to spend some time with them, getting to know. So I think it, like, from about 1 to 3 is when the major crowd gathering happens at Rhinebeck, and then it'll just be, walking around until it closes at 5. And then on Sunday, I'll go back, and Sunday it's a little less people-y. I love people. I just want to be able to get to a table to see the items that are on the table. And probably pick up just a couple of skeins of yarn, probably just memento yarn. I'm going to be very conscious that I don't need to buy any more yarn. I've reached a big birthday where I now start to think, yikes, how many more years do I've got left to use up all the yarn that I have at home? I hate to sound morbid, but the fact is that I got more yarn. When I say sable, stash acquired beyond life expectancy, I'm not kidding. There's a lot of yarn in this house. Speaking of which, I brought some more back. And the reason why I brought some back is this is yarn that I can't get here. And it is, although Lopo Chivier will ship internationally, she is currently not shipping to the US because of the whole tariff thing. So I picked up some more yarn, some more of the Phoebus yarn, because I've enjoyed knitting with it so much. So let me show you what I brought. Oh, but before I show you, I should say, if you stayed with me up to this point, thank you. Totally understand if you don't want to stay longer. I'll catch you in the next episode. For those of you that are staying, let me show you my new gems. And this is the thing. I get too excited about yarn. I'll start with the plain old black. I don't have any skeins of black yarn. I've never thought of knitting with black, but I've been wanting to make a black ranunculus for a while. And so I picked up the Phoebus in black. I have the 4 skeins. I should say that because this is a sport weight, it's 100 grams, and I don't think it's 200 meters to 100 grams, and it's 100% wool, Portuguese wool. But it's a very soft wool. It's not itchy at all. In trying on that top, it's a lightweight wool. It will keep me warm and cool at the same time. It's something that I haven't experienced with any of the other wool that I've already bought that I have in the house, which I've got a lot of variety. So I've been really impressed with this yarn. So I picked up 4 skeins of the black that I brought with me for a ranunculus, and if there's any left over, I'll find something to do with it. As far as how it's spun, it's not very different than a lot of the yarn that I use. There's just something about the way it knits that I really, really enjoy. So the black for a ranunculus, that is, and what I'm going to try to do from now on is when I buy the yarn, I'm going to put it in a bag with a pattern already so I can remember what I had planned to make with it. Because I did say it was that big birthday and I'm getting a little forgetful. So I want to remember what I bought the yarn for. It was the black, and because of this whole thing with the Christmas bell, with buying the red, which, you know, 2 episodes ago maybe, I can't remember if I talked about it in the last one, and how much I'm loving knitting with red now. I don't have much red in my wardrobe. I picked up the Phoebus. In English we'll say Phoebus, in Portuguese it's Phoebus, in red as well. And so same thing, I picked up 4 in the red colorway, and they just have a number, they don't have a colorway. It's just vermelho for red, preto for black, and so 4 skeins of the red. And I'm sure there's another Isabell Kraemer pattern in my future using this yarn, because she just had a pattern sale. I think I bought another 4 of her patterns. So I've got an extensive library of patterns. That's the other thing I've been collecting a lot of lately too, is patterns. So I'll be making one of those. So those are the skeins of yarn intended for a garment. And then I had to buy the yarn that was a kit. And I'll talk about this yarn dyer in a minute as well, because I have some of her other yarn. And I picked up, I was loving this colorway that she had. This is the fingering colorway. It's Trianon. It's all Greek names, the yarn. This is the fingering weight yarn in this teal color. And yeah, it's just another azul with a number. And I was just loving this yarn, but she didn't have any of this colorway left in the sport. So I was playing around with this one, and she said, you know what that yarn is perfect for? Is for the Knit with Friends shawl that was gift made free during the Knit with Friends festival in June. Now, June of 2024, when I was there, I got the chance to attend the Knit with Friends festival, which I adored, where I met Isabell Kraemer in person, where I took a photo with her. Hence my, if I ever run into her again, I'm gonna walk backwards. You know, the chances are there. Someday Isabell might come to the US. So this year, it being June, and I knew that I was gonna be there, it was in September, there wasn't a chance that I was gonna do 2 trips. So it was designed by Filipa Neona. I've knit other items by Filipa. She's a Portuguese designer, and she's got some beautiful works as well. So she designed the shawl. It was made with these 2 colors. So this is the kit that was recommended to me by the shop owner to go along with this skein of yarn, which has already been balled up. It's this is 100% merino wool, dyed in Portugal with care, and it's dyed by João, M for Maria, but we all call her João. She is a very talented indie dyer, and this ball had the most beautiful little spots of color that go perfectly with this. As I said, I'll try to put a picture of what the shawl looks like. And so this was the kit that I purchased. It was supposed to have 2 balls of this, but all she had left in the shop was very orangey peachy, and I'm not an orangey peachy person. So I told her I would just bring 1 of these balls, and I'm sure I've got something in stash that I can supplement. And these are, I should say, these are 50 grams. So this is 100 grams right here. So this is what was so wonderful about her shop. If you needed just 50 grams of a colorway, she also carries in 50 grams and 100 grams. So that was the kit for that one. Those were my purchases at Lobo Xavier. Great shop. If you're ever in Porto, go visit it. You'll see from my video at the end, if you do stay till the end, that it's very close to the Lelo bookstore, the Livraria, which is the bookstore that inspired Harry Potter. It's just a few blocks away. So if you are doing a tour to Porto and you land on the street where the bookstore is, look to your left. There's a church that's all in the blue tiles. The yarn shop is right next to it. There's my I did not go to the bookstore, by the way. I was not going to waste my time standing in line to be rushed through a bookstore just because it inspired J.K. Rowling to write a book. Went off the outline there. So after, or actually I shouldn't say after, I sort of jumped, before we even headed to Lopa Cheviet, I stopped at a yarn shop that I didn't get a chance to visit the last time, which was not very far, it's a few blocks away, and it's Ovelha Negra, or Black Sheep. And it's a cute little, tiny little shop. And I went in, and the husband was very happy because right next door was a place we could have his beer. Told me to take my time shopping while he enjoyed the people watching and having his beer. But I couldn't maintain my control, and I did not buy much. I only bought one type of yarn. I bought 4 balls of it because I need the 4 balls of it, but this is the yarn that I bought. And I couldn't resist because it's Olivia. So my name in Portuguese is Olivia. In English, we'll say Olivia. And I couldn't resist. And so this is the name of the shop, Ovelha Negra. And this is a 55% merino, 45% cotton. I've never knit with a merino or cotton blend, so I'm looking forward to giving this a try. And I bought this because my friend Manuela was knitting, or is knitting, the half and half wrap. And I loved how it felt. I'm not going to do a half and half wrap. I just don't have the will to spend that much time knitting garter stitch. But I figured I could do something with this yarn, some other kind, or even if it's a hitchhiker, or, I mean, I got a gazillion shawl patterns. So I ended up getting 4 of these balls because they are, let me see, did it say? Yes, because they're 50 grams, 350 meters. And so I figured 200 grams would give me a decent sized scarf. So those were my only purchases of yarn. I don't think it was that bad because I took a small suitcase this time and I was able to fit it comfortably in the suitcase. So that is my portion of the purchases. And now let me talk to you about, oh no, I have to talk to you about one more purchase because that was a purchase that I made in June or May. But because I was going in September, I asked her not to mail it so we wouldn't have the expense of shipping and hold it, and then I would pick it up when I was there. And it's more yarn by João, the hand dyer, and it's this kit right here. It's a single skein with these 5 minis. And this is, it's 75% merino and 20% nylon and 5% stellina. And this was a kit that she put together for a shawl that was designed by Andre Knits. They had done a retiro, a retreat to the island of São Miguel in the Azores. And for all the people that participated in the retreat with Andre, he designed the shawl and they got to knit the shawl that corresponded to the island. The shawl is called Shaguriana. I'll put a picture here of what it looks like. And it's inspired by the colorway that João used, is inspired by the fields there on the island. Island of São Miguel, there's a tea factory, it's Shaguriana. And I've got pictures because every time we go to the island, I have to stop there because it's the best tea when I'm on the island. So they've got fields and fields of tea, and a lot of the earth around the plants of tea are slightly rose pinkish color, and that's why João made these colors. So the pink and then the green to symbolize the fields of planted tea leaves. And so I brought it, and I'll be working on this as well. I would have loved to be part of that retreat, but it just didn't line up correctly. Maybe someday. The last thing I need to show you is the project bags that I've now adding to my collection. I have a lot of project bags, and lately all of the ones that I've been using are the ones that have been gifted to me or that I've bought from Manuela of Du Coudescent Atelier. She makes beautiful, beautiful bags. So I messaged her when I saw this one on Instagram that I was going to buy it from her when I got there, and I bought another one of her sock bags. And this one is in with pumpkins in the fall colorway, just like the other one that I showed you earlier. It's got the pockets inside, 2 pockets. It fits 100 grams skein of yarn well, the pattern, the needles, the whatever you need to. She always has a nice tag inside, and always, you know, made with love. But you know, this one it's in Portuguese, feito com amor. So this one I purchased from her, right, to add to my collection, for me to put my October sock yarn in here to take with me to Rhinebeck so I can work on my socks at Rhinebeck. Because that's all you have time to do when you're walking around. If you're watching everybody, is just to be sitting up there and knitting a pair of vanilla socks. So this one's going with me to Rhinebeck. But then Manuela being Manuela, and so generous. This woman is just so generous. I'm beyond words every time with how generous she is with gifting me things. She gifted me this bag, which will hold up to 2 skeins of yarn, and you know, the 2 pockets inside. Her tags, I mean, I love drawstring bags, but also it has the handle so that I can easily carry it. Manuela is a quilter. Oh, and also on her bags, she's got this little tab here where you can put stitch markers. And this is not quilted, this is not paper piecing. This is the actual fabric, but the rest of it is quilted. So all of her bags are quilted. She does not sell on Etsy, she sells via Instagram. So if you're interested in following along on her page, follow her on Instagram so you can see some of her beautiful makes. And then if you're interested in purchasing, you know, send her a message and see how you could acquire one of these beauties. Love her bags. I've shown them before. There's one that she gave me last June that I've taken to work every day with my knitting project. In fact, it's gone with me on vacation to quite a few places. Not only was it with me in Portugal, it also went with me to Disney World. And it needs a good washing at this point. So I think I'm gonna give it a break, and I wanna be using this one over the next few days. But the highlight of it was she gave me this beautiful tie-dye bag. Which came with another little bag, another project bag that, according to her, I could put my sock yarn in here, my project, and I could fit it in here, and I would have a nice bag to take with me on vacation or camping or wherever I would like to take it on a travel. Her generosity, it just blows me away. She would not let me pay her for any of these bags. And she has the tag here for you to put stitch markers. She's got this, and she included 2 beautiful progress keepers here that say Portugal. That's like the tiles that you find there. And here's her, all of her bags come with this tag that says handmade with love, both inside and on the outside. And that is her, how you'd spell. But I will have it linked below as well. And she did write me a beautiful little message. And then in here, she had a skein for me of João's yarn, the Halloween colorway, which was specifically dyed by João just for Halloween. And she is currently, today might be the last day, but she's in France. She's in Lyon for a yarn festival there. And I'm hoping she's doing really, really well. And she sold a lot of her yarn, but this is the beauty of yarn that is Halloween colorway inspired. And like all the other one, this is, oh, well, this one doesn't have, this one is 100% merino, 100 grams to 400 meters. This one does not have nylon, so this one has got to be a shawl. It will be a shawl or a scarf. And it is absolutely gorgeous, so soft. Smells like Portugal to me. And in the bag, she also included this with little extra pieces of fabric that she has. She makes these little organizers for your needles. The needle is mine. I just put the needle in here so you could see what it does. She had this one included, and she included these two other ones. And how these work is you snap it open, and then you feed the needle through it and snap. And it's a great way to organize your needles when you're throwing them in your bag. So just unsnap and you bring out your needles. And yes, I do have these acrylic needles from a long time ago, which I'm just using to show you. I don't knit with them. This is when I was a starter knitter. I ended up with some of these acrylic ones from Knit Picks. But yeah, and what a great way to use up all of the fabric. Great little gift idea too, to put in somebody's box with yarn if it's going to be gifted. So yeah, no, I don't have anything else here to talk about. So just one last thing that I wanted to add here is, before I show you the video, it is mind-blowing to me how small the world can be. So the trip we took to Porto was to celebrate my special birthday. We went there last year for my husband's birthday, and he's all about wine, so we did all of wine country. I'm all about castles, so we went looking for castles. And in the video, I do have some video footage of some of the castles we saw, but I didn't do all of them. But the one that was very, very special to me was the Pousada do Castelo in Óbidos, which is a small medieval town, and beautiful little streets to walk through and shops. And it is still very much a village where people live in, but a lot of the shops are now catered to tourists. But there was a cute little pub that we popped into, and I am very much a people person. I'm a public librarian, and if somebody has a question or if somebody needs a direction, I always want to share with them what I know, or just talk to them. If I didn't have my husband to keep me in check when we go out and about, I would probably spend a lot of time just people talking, just letting them know. But he's good. He's good at holding me back from entering into conversations. But in this particular case, we were sitting at this table at this pub, just, talking about, how much fun we were having and having our beer and how happy we were. And this is in the video at the end. When I hear a guy next to me who was American and say that he's interested in trying a ginginha. A ginginha is a special liqueur in Portugal, which is a cherry flavored drink. And Olivia's head just snapped out and said, "You've never tried one? Do you want to try one? Let's try one." And so I asked the waiter to bring us one because I felt like having one. And so we did. And so cheers, we had this drink. And then we made small talk and we kept talking. And then one thing led to another. And it's so crazy how small this world is. It really is. We knew they were Americans, but as we started to talk more, they're from Connecticut. And then she saw my bag, which I didn't get to show earlier, which is where I took my my Neona, travel with me on this bag, which is my swag from Skein Yarn Shop in Greenwich, Rhode Island, East Greenwich, Rhode Island. She saw my yarn bag and she said, "Oh, I have a friend who's really into yarn as well." And I said, "Yeah, my trips all revolve around yarn." And I said, "But you said Stratford, Connecticut?" I said, "Yeah, I've got friends in Stratford, Connecticut." And she said, "Yeah, my friend Ray." And I'm like, "Your friend Ray?" I said, "As in Ray and Kevin of Needles at the Ready?" And she goes, "Yeah, they have a podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, I know they have a podcast." And it was mind-blowing. It turns out that, so it's Cynthia. I'll put a picture of them here. I did cover up their faces because I didn't ask for permission to post their photo. They do know I took the photo because we both texted the photo off to Ray. But I just wanted you to see just how close we were sitting. Totally by chance. They were at one end of the table. When we walked into the pub, the end of the table was free because the pub was so small. And we just sat there. So here we are talking about Kevin and Ray and their podcast and their yarn dyeing. And I'm like, yeah, here's proof. Here's me with them last week at the yarn shop. And it was just mind-blowing. We ended up spending a lovely half hour there chit-chatting, and I easily would have stayed longer if my husband hadn't stopped the conversation and told me it's time for us to go. We weren't there. But anyway, just how crazy it is, how 3,000 miles we go and we meet somebody that has this connection with Kevin and Ray, and how phenomenal it was to speak to somebody who also knows those two wonderful human beings and how real they are. So if you don't watch Kevin and Ray, why not? They are amazing in their yarn makes. Go over and see them. What you see on their channel as they're talking is exactly who they are in person. And I am blessed to know them personally, and I'm so looking forward to seeing them at Rhinebeck in a couple of weeks and laughing over how we ended up meeting somebody there that can vouch for them as yarn makers. So anyway, yeah, with all that said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you once again. Muito obrigada por estar aí deste lado. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and share it with friends who might be interested in listening about yarns that are outside of the US. And if you need more backstory on me, if you go to my first episode, you'll get the whole scoop there on why I decided to do this channel and why I decided to call it Yarn Stories. So in closing, I just want to wish you all the best. Happy autumn to you all here in the Northern Hemisphere. Happy spring to all in the Southern Hemisphere. And until next time, até a próxima. Adeus. So here I am outside of our hotel, and let me show you just how close I am to the yarn shop. So there's the exit, where in between the greenery, that's the exit to the hotel. And then this little cobblestone street, and now I'll walk towards the yarn shop.
dinner in the castle with the queen. We are on the second floor.
Look at that. He's watching out the parapets, knocking on the castle doors. Let me in. Enemy is coming. Yeah, there it is. He's so brave. He is so brave. Climbing all the way up there. All right, Sir John, time to come down off the tower.
Okay, lock the gates. The Spaniards are coming.
Where did you have breakfast, John?
Right by that window, between the two towers.
So John, what are you doing?
Having breakfast.
Private walk somewhere?
Yeah.
Well, it's 12 o'clock here. 7 a.m. at home.
That's all right.
But you've already acclimated to the hour here, right?
That's right. And the lifestyle.
Because if you were there, you'd already be getting ready for work. Yeah, I'm having one too. But I want to have water first. That's the cute little bottle we found.
And I do not want to show.
Lisbon. Look at that beautiful sunrise. Absolutely spectacular. This is right across from our hotel. This is where we stayed on this trip.